Arcane is back, baby, and we don't even have any time to mourn what happened at the end of season 1. We're right into the action. Welcome back, everybody. I did not get to talk about season 1 of Arcane on my channel because I wasn't making content at that time up here, so I am really excited and blessed to be here to talk to you about Arcane season 2. We've waited so long for this show, and I was so excited, and I'm still so excited. Let's talk about it. So before I get into what happened in Act 1, just a friendly spoiler warning for you. We are going to be talking a little bit of a synopsis here. I'm going to be talking about some pretty big spoilers through this review, so just a heads up, that is coming. In this first act, basically we're dealing with the fallout of the end of season 1. So tensions are at an all-time high between Piltover and Zaun due to Jinx's actions at the end of season 1 and the attack, the direct attack on the council. We're dealing with the fallout of that. We're dealing with the loss of that. Obviously, Caitlyn's mom no longer with us. Rest in peace. And however, as we mourn that loss, almost at the same time, we are confronted by the fact that we are on the precipice, it feels, of all-out war between Piltover and Zaun. It feels like it's coming. People are trying to do everything they can to stave off full-on war, but it's just not working great. By the end of the act, we're pretty much heading right into that. So that's what we have to look forward to in Act 2. We're also dealing with the consequences of Hex Tech as well, and how using the arcane can actually affect the people in these surrounding areas and even the nature, the locations. So that is something that we're confronting as well in this first act. So let's start off with one of my favorite things about this show in general. And one of my favorite things, I mean, I think this show does this the best. We're going to talk about animation. Now, the animation in this show is just unparalleled. And I mean, you could freeze frame any second of this episode, and pretty much every frame that I have seen when I pause this is a work of art. You could hang it up on the wall. So the attention to detail that we put into this, and just the framework and the character designs and the colors and all of this stunning work that is being done with the animation is amazing. I mean, it is one of the, or I think it actually is the most expensive animated series ever made. So that shows, and in a good way. And hopefully they're making enough money to warrant that. I got to imagine between League of Legends and all the new players it's brought in and merch alone, that you would be seeing that money back. I mean, they wouldn't spend if they weren't making it, I would think. But it's not just the animation that's amazing in this show. It's also the music is fantastic. I mean, the voice acting is also really good. But I really want to highlight the music and the animation here first, because they're just on another level. And the music just beautifully blends with the animation as well, too. There's so much consideration and thought for, I think, both sides of those and how they're going to work together. And I don't know which comes first. I have to imagine that the music inspires the animation, but I could be wrong, and it might be a little bit of a combined vibe. Like maybe the people that are making the music are also looking at some of that animation before they craft what they're doing. It's just really well blended, though, to the point that you can't even really tell what comes first, because it all fits just like a puzzle piece. They fit perfectly together. I love these extended sequences that we get that are basically like music videos that connect into the bigger story. It's giving me League cinematic vibes, but in a way that is heightened, because this isn't just a precursor to, you know, a season or a whole story or a character. This is something that is connected to a larger picture, a larger story, and these musical interludes are kind of taking us through part of the story and how it's unfolding, and then how it connects into the larger picture. So there's just a lot of nuance and a lot of detail in Arcane that I really appreciate, and I'm so glad that it's bringing so many people into the League of Legends world, even though I feel like, you know, there are people that I know that watch the show that were like, I want to play League of Legends, that I was like, I don't know if I'd recommend it, because League of Legends can be pretty toxic, so it really depends on what you want to play. But of course, there's also lots of other games that are set in the world at this point too. And speaking of League players, for those of us that already play, or if perhaps you were brought into League through Arcane and you are playing now, there are lots of little references in this show for League players, which I have really been enjoying. I mean, Heimerdinger's bubble gun, which looks a lot different in the game. Not quite a bubble gun in the game. Heimerdinger is a pacifist in the show, and much more dangerous, I'd say, in the game of League of Legends. We also get a reference to Janna, a character that I sometimes like to play, being a weather goddess, which she is. Just so cool, and just really fun when they drop names and show off this lore that you're like, oh, I know about that thing. That's so exciting to see it incorporated. We also get some smaller ones, like Teemo is referenced here. So the little girl that Jinx saves, her helmet, her hat is Teemo's hat. Teemo also appears on a pinball machine in here. So there's lots of little Teemo references. Honestly, just with all the Yordles, it's also making me want to go back and play more Bandletale. If you guys don't know Bandletale, it's kind of like Stardew Valley meets League of Legends vibes. It's based around like the world of the Yordles, which is what Heimerdinger and what Teemo are. That is their race, and it's a very cute, very fun game. Highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. You should support other Riot Games because they do other games, and I feel like no one knows about them. So there you go. Maybe I'll leave a little link to it as well if you guys want to check it out. It's over on Steam. A little crafting RPG if you're into that kind of vibe. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here, and there's a lot of little changes sometimes they make with the characters too, kind of reframing or like different perspectives, still keeping the characters who they are, but just kind of offering us a different view of that character or putting them into a different place than we're used to seeing necessarily. So my favorite thing is that whether or not you're familiar with the lore, I always feel like there's fun twists and turns in this show. Even if you are familiar with League of Legends lore, there are things that you're still not going to see coming just because it is reframed, and it gives you a nice fresh vibe to everything that we're getting in regards to League, which obviously the show is all in that world, although there are multiple areas of that world. It's really a big world. I can't wait to see where we go next, even after Arcane. I hope we get many more shows set in the League of Legends world. Finally, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the surprises. Speaking of those twists and turns and fresh takes and just things that I didn't see and things that I kind of did see. Let's talk about something I did see to start. So in episode 1, I actually called who was going to be behind all of this in that episode. There was a moment, I don't know if people also noticed it. You can let me know in the comments if you're one of the people that noticed this, where they're having their council meeting down below in the dungeons. And they talk about the raid that just happened and how Zon attacked during it. And of course, this was supposed to be a ceremony that was acknowledging the loss that they had suffered based on the attack from Jinx and mourning, their fallen. And they get attacked. And of course, Piltover is very surprised by this, and considering they had such strong security, surprised that anyone was able even to infiltrate this ceremony from Zon. Shula is in fact wondering how anyone got in, and it comes up that, there must be someone on the inside that Zon is working with, otherwise how would they have been able to get in at all? Then we cut to Ambessa for a second, very brief second, standing in the background there. And I was like, Ambessa seems to be pretty hyped on conflict. Is it Ambessa? And then at the end, yeah, it was Ambessa. Even the whole Black Rose thing didn't throw me in terms of that theory. However, I was very surprised to find out that the Black Rose, which obviously is also in the opening credits, which the opening titles are amazing as well. Just so stunning, so cool. And there's so many elements there that I think are going to lend to what is happening in the season. So definitely look to that for some clues on where we're going. I thought that the Rose was going to signify that Mel was going to be following somewhat in Ambessa's footsteps. I thought it maybe could be a symbol of death, but no, it is just a Black Rose of the Black Rose. And it's, of course, connected to LeBlanc. I don't know how I didn't see that coming, but there it is. And I do hope we get more LeBlanc in the show, and not just through, possessing people. Hopefully we get like full LeBlanc, because that would be really cool. For those who aren't aware, LeBlanc is another champion in League of Legends. You can look her up. She's a shapeshifter. She's a really cool character, and like I said, I do hope we get to see more of her in this. The third episode for me was the most impactful one, because I think that's the episode where everything really comes full circle for us. We get that climax, and everything else is kind of just slowly building up to, I think, ultimately the confrontation between Jinx and Vi again. They have that fight, also my favorite fight in Act 1, and it's an emotional time. I think also episode 3, we focus a lot on the individual stories and how they connect to the greater picture. And like I said, I do think that's just an element that Arcane does really well, making us care about these characters and then through that taking us through a larger story. Also, we're going to be getting some really cool stuff. Speaking of characters, Warwick is a character that a lot of us have been theorizing would be coming into the show since season 1, and we are getting some big Warwick stuff in this act, especially at the end of episode 3. Warwick obviously here is created by Singed, and there's also this music that plays at the end of each episode, and somewhat it feels a little bit like Warwick's theme, but I wasn't fully convinced. There's the Locket music. That music. What is that? Because I thought for a minute it kind of reminded me of the Annie Origin cinematic music, but then I'm not fully convinced on that. I think maybe I just want it to be that because I'm an Annie fan. Annie is another champion in League. She is a little girl who has a bear that is possessed by this fire demon, basically, named Tibbers. That's the bear's name, not the demon's name. And Annie is really cool. I really like playing her. Or I was thinking maybe Oriana because Singed does create Oriana, but I'm also not fully convinced on that. I thought maybe it was Oriana's theme. So I don't know. It could be, maybe it's neither of those things. Maybe it's just Warwick's theme. Maybe it's something else is going on there. I just wanted to put it out there because I want to hear your theories. I haven't found a lot of people online talking about it, so I don't have a lot of people to talk about it with. So if you have theories, please let me know down in the comments, and I would love to hear your take on that. Or, you know, is it just Warwick's? Maybe it's just a Warwick thing. Could be. That's all I have for this one, friends. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. I think Act 1, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5, honestly. I think it's really strong. I mean, I really have no complaints, and it's just so freaking gorgeous, and everyone is just doing such great work in this show. I cannot wait to watch Act 2. I'm like, I want to watch it right now, but I can't because it's not out until like 2 days from now because I'm filming this on Thursday and it doesn't come out till Saturday. Need my Arcane fix. So that will be very fun to watch, and yeah, I cannot wait to discuss that with you when it comes out, potentially, if you like me talking about Arcane. Let me know. I'll see you next time. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And until then, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye!